All right, hey everybody, Mark Burgess, Big East Bass Fishing. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you watching. So I've been doing these little videos on, my top bait choices, colors, baits that I like to have tied on, at all times and when. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about my favorite topwater baits and when to throw them and why. So get right into it. My favorite, as I've mentioned, one of my favorite topwater baits, if not my all-time favorite, as I've mentioned in the past, is a buzzbait. Okay, my own, I make these myself, a condition-specific buzzbait to match the conditions of the water color, water conditions, and the sky conditions, because it changes quite a bit how the fish see a bait, looking up at it. So that's, I design these to be fished, in all conditions, but specifically, as the name states, I'll change skirt colors and blade combinations depending on those conditions, whether the water is clear, stained, or muddy, whether it's cloudy or sunny. So, in a nutshell, clear water, you can use a more translucent skirt, white chartreuse a little bit, white gold, silver blade. You're working a little bit more stained. Now you're talking, you can still go with like white gold, but certainly white chartreuse, gold blade, that kind of thing. Off-color muddy water, you can use black-red skirt, gold blade. It just has a more of a profile, stands out a little bit better to the fish, so you can check those out. But buzzbait, by far, is my favorite topwater bait to fish. And as I mentioned in other videos, the time of year I like to throw it is when the water reaches like 60 degrees, when the fish are finally pushing up shallow, roaming around, looking for a place that they're going to spawn in several weeks. Buzzbait's a great tool to locate them and catch them. Let's see, next would be a Zara Spook or walking type bait. Again, it's a bait you can throw a country mile. A lot of different colors, that work really well. Green back, white, pearl bottom, gold hues, things like that. There's a lot of different style of walking baits. They all work very, very well. I mostly throw them for smallmouth in clear water, but I've caught an awful lot of largemouth with the walking bait as well. And sometimes that's what they want. The more you fish, you'll recognize where to throw, a buzzbait versus a Popeye versus a walking bait or Zara Spook. Typically, it's not, in thick, heavy cover. You can throw it around cover, but it's a bait that, you can let sit still. You can basically do a slow cadence back and forth with the snappy rod tip and, half crank handle in the reel, to get it to walk. And you can actually steer it around things, with your rod. You can work it really quick. You can work it really slow. And that's important, certain days when you're just trying to, get the temperature of the bass, just what are they doing? What do they want? And this is a bait that you can do that with. Next would be a Popeye. Okay. Popeye to me is a more object orientated bait, where it's not really cast a country mile and then work it back all the way back to the boat. This is more of a round targets in between brush and wood and rocks and things like that. But again, you can work it quick, but for me, I like to basically, this is post spawn. I like to fish for what I call fry bass. These are bass that are garden fry, and they're very territorial, very protective. And if they see a bait and believer bait is not a threat, they won't attack it. If it's moving out of their area really quick, they won't attack it. But if it's right on them, in their face, they'll eat it. Okay, and this is what a Popeye will do for you. Is you can put it, in a lot of tight places, give it a couple good pops, and they'll just crush it. So a couple little tricks. You can file down the bottom lip, because I don't like that bloop bloop. I don't like that. I like more psh, psh, more spitting out of this bait. But you can check that out in the picture. But so that's the popper or popper style bait. Similar category would be a prop bait. Okay, again, it's a bait that I can walk this bait. I can work it like a popper. It has a completely different action and profile, obviously, than a popper. More similar to the spook. However, it has more of a little bit of erratic action. Some have blades on both ends. It's got to be, if it does have a prop on the front of it, just be mindful that your line isn't getting tangled in that prop, on the cast or the retrieve, because if it does, you're going to lose some fish there. So there's a couple things. We'll probably, in another video, go over some little tricks you can do to keep that from happening. But these especially work well everywhere, but in Florida, typically around the spawn, it's a bait that you can get a lot of action out of in a real short distance, which can be key. If their bite window is small, I mean, you can leave this bait in that window a long period of time, and with just a quick snap of the rod, you get a lot of action. So prop baits work really well. Getting into some more heavy cover, you're looking at frog. Okay, real popular bait to throw, and this, there's a lot of different frogs on the market. They all work great. Typically hollow body frog like this is more of a bait that you can throw into real heaviest cover that there is. You're throwing it on a minimum 50-pound braid, straight braid, and because there's nothing about this that fish are going to be line shy about in that heavy cover. So super heavy cover, you can make a long cast. You want to use at least a medium heavy rod, a 7-foot medium heavy, closer to the heavy side with that braid, because these are, you're looking at heavy cover, and these are big hooks, and it takes a lot to penetrate them and then keep them buttoned to get them back to the boat. But this is a bait that you can work through heavy cover and stop in open areas. You can even walk it back to outside of the cover, in some cases, and they'll chase it down and crush it. If the bass are looking for something more moving, a toad. Okay, again, a lot of variations of this. This is not something that you can pause and it will stay floating. Okay, a lot of people will use a belly hook, weighted belly hook, to make sure that the hook point stays up. But they make a great noise, almost like a lot of people are using these on the back of buzz baits. Okay, so you can take the skirt off a buzz bait, put a horny toad on the back of there, and it'll work great for you. But you fish them basically, with a wide gap hook. I like the screw lock myself. And if the bait's turning in the cover upside down or rolling, then just like a 1/8 ounce belly weighted hook will keep it positioned correctly for you. You can't stop it in the middle of a pocket and have it sit there like a traditional frog, hollow body frog. However, in some cases, when you do that and you pause it and it sinks down, you'll get some bites. Okay, so try that. If next time you're throwing a frog. Now again, I'm not throwing toads or frogs until there's plenty of aquatic vegetation, visible vegetation. And so you're talking summertime, but summertime, absolute staple. So, down the road, you could do full-length videos on each one of these baits alone, you know, and the colors that you throw and when you throw it and how to throw it and how to rig it. And we'll probably do that. So, but for now, I appreciate you watching. Again, hope this puts a few more fish in the boat for you. And again, Mark Burgess, Big East Bass Fishing. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you out there on the water.